So we've come to the end of 3 days of draft action in Pittsburgh. The Minnesota Vikings have added 9 players to their roster, plus another 19 undrafted free agents. Guys, hello and welcome to the UK and Ireland Minnesota Vikings Fan Club podcast. I am your host for this episode, content lead Tom Parry-Jones, and I'm going to be joined by the wonderful club advisor, Darren Hails, and live from Pittsburgh, we've got club co-founder, vice president, all-round nice guy, and international fan of the year, John Macdonald, and club president, Rich Dawson. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, gentlemen.
Gosh, how intimate you guys.
What's that like, having that hello, gentlemen, actually in your ear? That was almost seductive. It was, especially that scar in his face.
There's two things I've just got to point out. One, I know that you're hosting duties today. That intro was absolutely beautiful. But if you could introduce me as Big Deal Rich, that would make me feel a whole heap better.
I refuse to indulge you in that. Big Deal Rich. This has gone on. It's gone on too far, mate. But I suppose it is warranted.
Rich is doing all of this in the third person.
Yeah.
Of course.
Big Deal Rich is unhappy with his intro. Guys, you've been in Pittsburgh since what? Tuesday last week or Wednesday?
Tuesday evening, yeah.
That's amazing. So how has it been? How have you been enjoying yourselves?
John, you go first.
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's been an amazing experience out there, just non-stop. It's been very non-stop, I'm not going to lie. We've not had much time to take a breath, but yeah, the city's absolutely amazing. We've had nothing but sunshine the entire time. We're coming back so tan from Pittsburgh. Wonderful people and a wonderful city.
I was led to believe that it was quite rainy there yesterday.
So we were told. I've been talking to people in Pittsburgh, and I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but I think we're almost fed like a brand of each city and in the USA. So, certain cities have these traits, etc. For me, I think we've always been sold Pittsburgh as quite a grimy, blue-collar, fierce, tough community.
Yeah, like Sheffield.
Yeah, a bit like Sheffield. It is beautiful here, absolutely beautiful.
Oh, not like Sheffield.
That's where the Sheffield-Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that is
definitely.
That is literally where it is. Literally where I've been to Sheffield many times. It's a close neighbour of ours, and it's not somewhere I would choose to go ever. Where it's here, it's incredible.
Right there on the Allegheny River.
Can I just add, as the UK and Ireland Minnesota Vikings fan club, we love you, Sheffield, as much as we love all other UK.
Sorry, I mean, yeah.
Well, I don't know about as much, but yeah, I suppose so. Guys, we'll get into more of your exploits in Pittsburgh in a little while. I think we've just got a little bit of news to get to before we dive into all the draft stuff. Perfect. Don't even need sound effects because we've got Rich doing them here. Just a little bit of news. We've got to announce, unfortunately, the Vikings announced last week the passing of a former defensive end of ours, a former first-round pick, a guy called Doug Martin, who was an NFL season sack leader in 1982. We picked him 9th overall in 1980. And yeah, he died, I believe, last week at the age of 68, which is no age these days, but I think it was nice that the Vikings held off on announcing it until basically the eve of the draft, with him having been a first round pick. So
very sad.
Very, very sad. And obviously our thoughts go out to his family and everyone who knew him at the Vikings. Yeah. R.I.P. Doug Martin.
Definitely. Thoughts go out to him.
Any other news, guys, that you've got to bring to the table?
Well, other than news that happened in the draft, which we'll get to later, I don't think there's been anything else unless I've missed it.
No, I don't think so. I think in that case, we better go back to how it's been over in Pittsburgh. So you guys talk us through it from flying out there to flying back today. What's the entire weekend been like?
Again, I was a tag along. Let's face facts. And
big deal, Rich. A tag along, never.
I know. Can you? But it's almost unbelievable. But when John asked me to come on the trip, I'll say it from my perspective. John asked me to come on the trip, International Fan of the Year. Do you mind accompanying me to the draft? You're never going to say no to that. And I suppose for me, I was always a bit sort of, okay, well, it's going to be an experience. We don't really know what's going to happen day to day. Obviously, we get an itinerary and it gives you a little bit of an overview of what you're actually going to be doing. But I don't know about you guys, but when you're at home in the UK watching the draft, it looks all very flashy and beautiful on the TV. But you're much more involved in the players and the pick, who's going where, etc., etc. But I suppose from day one here, it's all bit, as John said, it's 100 miles an hour. So the feeling in the city is very electric. We spent the first day just sightseeing, I suppose.
Yeah, sightseeing. And we had the Q&A with that guy. What was his name? Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell.
Yeah.
You finally met my friend Rog.
Yeah. Yes. And he has got an incredibly good handshake.
Definitely.
But he also talks very, very well about the game. So he's obviously very passionate about his job. He loves football. And it was good to sit in a room. There was a guy, there was a bit of a Q&A, so we went around the room. There was more questions. He could have sat there for days and we could have all asked the question.
Did you guys manage to get a question in?
We didn't manage to get a question in. He says that there was another guy with Roger Goodell. Do you remember who it was?
There was a quarterback.
No, it wasn't a quarterback.
Was it not?
It was Peanut Tillman.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So...
It was pretty impressive. Just as a side along to Roger Goodell, Peanut was there.
Yeah, and he was very bright personality. Yeah. Good to get on with. But yeah, I went around the room, and I suppose one of the highlights. Obviously, they talked about the international market. Where do you want to go next? Could there be a British team? Could there be a European team? Blah 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 blah. All that sort of stuff that you would expect to ask. And then the plus one from the Chiefs. Really, really nice guy, was talking about how he'd had a season ticket for 15 seasons. And his question was, when are you going to stop sending the Jags over to England? Because he's had to watch them twice a season for the past 15 years, which was quite well received in the room. But yeah, just, again, that sort of set everything up for what you were expecting for the rest of the week. It was the most amazing people, the most amazing experience. The next day we got... On the TV, when they do the walk, when you get picked, and if you're in the green room, you get walked. So we got to do a tour. We walked down the green room. We walked where they got all the sofas in the back and all that sort of stuff. We had a look all the way around there. And then the next thing we did was draft day one, which what time did we have to get checked in by? About 5:30?
5:30, yeah.
5:30 on the day, which obviously is... very early compared to when the actual draft picks get announced.
Yeah, it's about 2.5 hours before the entire show kicked off.
Yeah, they get you seated well, and you walk around, and everyone's got their own little pods of teams of who to sit with.
Yeah, we've got some swagger on the chairs. We got our draft hats.
Got a new draft hat.
Got a few bits.
Yeah, you guys were properly in the inner circle, and right in the front, as far as I could tell.
Yeah, that's what it's called, the inner circle.
We're
talent.
I like it.
We were in the inner circle. The Vikings were just behind. Who were we behind? The Chiefs division.
Yeah,
you were behind the Chiefs. Yeah.
Brilliant experience for night one. Yeah, and then we all got back here
very late.
Very late.
It's late in the UK, but it's also very late here by the time
we've
done all that and get on over and done with and all that sort of stuff. And then day two was probably one of the most interesting things we did. We went back to the draft arena, and they took us backstage to the inner workings of the draft. So we went into a room that has got a team of 15 to 20 people, maybe.
Yeah. They're talking to all the teams and everything like that. So they're on constant communication with all the teams. So if someone's doing a trade or anything like that, both teams have to ring up separately and tell them exactly what they're trading, and they have to match so they know this is right and it's all been worked out by the teams and everything like that. But,
and it doesn't always match.
Doesn't always match. Like maybe check those numbers again. Yeah. Talk to each other a bit more.
And then someone asked the question of what happens if someone doesn't get a pick in quickly enough. Of course, we know the answer to that one already.
Yep.
And then there was a little bit of chat around sort of what happened. How late could someone potentially put a trade in? When does it go down to? And what are the backups? You know, is there any feasible way of pressing pause on the draft, and what would lead to those moments? And they've got a conference call with all 32 team. Everyone dials in and puts themselves on mute, and that is on a different network to the other phones that they use. That if you want to do a trade, which is different to the other network and back. So there's so many backup after backup after backups. But he did say that there is a mechanism for we can pause the proceedings now. And,
I've always wondered, like, if a team is on the clock and then they make a decision to make a trade and the trade goes through with like 10 seconds to go, does the team they've traded the pick to, like, do they get the full 10 minutes again?
Yeah.
Yes, they'll get the full. They'll get the full.
However long it is, 8 minutes now. Yeah. That's fascinating. So obviously you got like a full experience of the draft over the full 3 days. Like, was there anything special on day 3 to sort of mitigate the?
Well, no, nothing happened on day 3. Let's just carry on. Let's talk about the rest of the stuff.
I was going to say, was there anything to mitigate the tedium of getting through all those round 4 to 7 picks? But of course, there was a big thing that John had to do.
Yeah, we haven't even got past day 2 yet because they put on a gig basically before the draft. So Wiz Khalifa and a country star that I cannot remember the name of did what again. Expectations fairly low for that, but incredible experience. Yeah. And I tell you what, the guy who was doing the sound rig, give him a medal because it sounded absolutely incredible whilst we were there.
Yeah, it was day 2 a very different vibe from day 1.
Yeah, nice. Very subdued, if you like, a bit more relaxed,
a bit more. Yeah, not so commercial, and just felt a lot less. These are the proper fans here for a great experience.
Yeah. Well, it's good. And then by day 3, they sort of they clear everything away almost. It's all the big crowd at the back gets ushered much closer to the stage. There is some still stuff at the front for some VIP people to do their things when they need to do them. But it gets much more relaxed the day you go on.
Did you guys stay until the very, very end of day 3?
Oh yeah, you have to see Mr. Irrelevant, don't you?
But like, how long after that did you clear the stage?
Well, we pretty much shot off. Yeah. It had been a long day, and we were just like, we'd been there to midday. I think we had to check in at like 11 o'clock. So we headed back with a lot of the other international fans who we've made great friends with over here. And we just went out for a few beers and actually celebrated our draft picks. I mean, we made some really good friends there.
I think it's probably about time that we actually discuss some of those draft picks. So if we get into day 1, obviously the Vikings were picking at number 18 in round number 1. Everyone thought we were going to go safety, maybe another position, but probably not the defensive line, and certainly not the guy who we ended up picking. What was the impression like at the draft of the Vikings pick, like amongst your little section?
Shock.
Yeah,
shock.
Do you know what? It's weird as well because I don't want to say it's choreographed because it's not, but you are in the inner circle representing the team that you are with, and you know that when the person coming on stage to announce the pick for the Vikings, Mr. Goodell, in the first round, the focus is on us, and you're so bothered about making sure that you're representing the Vikings as best as you possibly can on the screen, etc., etc. The pick gets announced, and you haven't got enough time to take it in, so you're just reacting as if you were just as if you just got a touchdown or something like that. And then when they go on to the next team, you go, "Oh, who was it, and why have we picked those?" So there was a bit of a Caleb Banks, isn't he injured? So there was a bit of that going round, and and everyone had said. I mean, John, you were a bit upset with it.
I was more upset when my man went to the Bears and came down and celebrated with them right in front of us.
Yeah, Dylan Thieneman going to the Bears 8 picks after we could have taken him, but c'est la vie. We're going to have to play him twice a year. But Darren,
He's going to have to play Justin Jefferson twice a year.
Yeah,
exactly.
Original Justin Jefferson on my eye.
Not the linebacker who got picked in round 5, I think,
by Cleveland Browns, I think.
Yeah. Darren, what were your thoughts on the pick itself? Caleb Banks coming to the Minnesota Vikings.
So, although I can't prove it, in about one of my first or second ones, I actually picked Caleb Banks. It's definitely a need that we needed. I don't think it was unclear when we did our mock draft a couple of weeks ago that I wasn't very high on a safety. I wasn't very high on Dylan Thieneman, just because I thought there was more depth in that space and there were other positions of need. So I'm quite happy with it. I think it feels, and we'll come onto it more in the other stuff, but it does feel like we have drafted for needs and for the scheme that we play this time, rather than just whatever we were doing previously. Obviously, the injury is a risk, but again, you would certainly believe that there's been a lot of checks going on that it's a break, not any kind of ligament injury. And even though I don't know if you've been catching up out there, but KOC was talking about that and they were asking about it. And although he didn't say it, it felt like, without throwing anybody under the bus, it was basically the original break earlier in the year was repaired, but that was a botched job, and therefore this time it's been done properly. So it's not. So I think that may be part of the problem. If he turns and he is a fantastic player. So if you look at his 24 tape, he is outstanding in that position. So I think in terms of where we are, I know John's upset, but
honestly, I'm not.
No, in terms of
in terms of not getting Thieneman,
Sorry, just be clear. So I think it's a good fit. I think it's a good fit for what we did. And again, we'll come onto it with other picks. I don't want to foreshadow stuff, but I think it's there's a lot of poundage that's been added to our trenches.
Certainly,
yeah. If he remains injury free, he's an absolute steal, because he was top 10 before the injury.
Exactly.
And that was lowballing him.
Yeah.
It does feel a little bit recent Vikings, though, doesn't it? Instead of just take a player that everyone says is brilliant, is ready to go, oh, hang on though, but we've seen someone who might be brilliant and it's a little bit of a risk, and it feels a little bit Vikings.
Yeah, well, Darren and I were discussing this in the pre-show. That it felt a bit Quasey in that we sometimes get a bit too cute with our draft picks, but you also pointed out that actually this is quite a straightforward pick, even if it's not the consensus one that we all thought it was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying, Richard says that everyone says that, but everyone is armchair, and people that are not, you know what I mean? So there's, we don't know what the board is. They've got their own, and we the whole draft, if you look at the whole draft, certainly the first round, there were players going in all over the place. So in comparison to how the consensus mock drafts have been showing it, mock drafts are not, shouldn't be seen as the only thing that was weird about this one is that everyone jumped on the replacement of Harrison Smith bandwagon, I think, and it just seemed like an easy pick from a mock draft perspective. So I think, he's a good player, but I'm not upset about us not picking it. And like you say, I know there's been the argument of, well, we could have dropped back, we could have got some more picks, but reports are coming out now to say that Banks, there was a number of teams in the 20s that were keen on him. And we tried to be cute. We're trying to get a little bit of extra capital. And I think, Rob Brzezinski and so forth just played it straight with a straight bat and just said,
sometimes you just got to stick and pick.
He's a top on our board. Yeah. We're just doing what we're doing, not trying to be too cute about it. So I think I can't criticise that.
We are
obviously,
without.
You could have ended up like the Steelers when your guy pretty much gets taken. Someone jumps you to take your guy.
Yeah, exactly.
You're on the phone to the guy.
We are currently without an actual. A proper general manager. Obviously, Rob Brzezinski is standing in for the position. John, do you think this feels kind of like a Brian Flores pick rather than the front office picking?
Yeah, it's definitely a B-Flow pick. I think that's definitely someone he would have absolutely loved. And you know what? I trust KO and B-Flow, so let's see what they can do.
I think we haven't picked. Did I read somewhere that we hadn't picked more than more than one defensive player in the first 3 rounds in the Brian Flores era prior to this, and we kind of doubled.
This time we got 4 in the first 5 picks, all in the top 100.
So it kind of feels like the keys were just given to Brian Flores to do the draft.
Well, let's move on then to round number 2. Obviously, that was day 2 when we started off with a trade. Perfect that you guys were shown, the inner workings of the draft because you got to see how all this stuff really works. So we traded back 2 spots from 49 to 51 with the Carolina Panthers, and that allowed us to take Jake Golday, a linebacker out of Cincinnati. Darren, any thoughts on him?
It's an interesting one because he's played as an edge as well, and obviously with the Jonathan Greenard news. Again, sorry for the spoilers if you haven't been watching the news.
We'll get to that in a minute.
But based on that trade, I wonder whether he's going to be used more in that space. As an outside linebacker, it was a bit of a weird one if it's purely on that, given that we've just signed Eric Wilson to a new Cashman's there. I don't think he's been playing there as an off-ball linebacker. So yeah, I wonder whether he's going to be used as one of these Brian Flores Swiss Army knife type pieces. But that was a bit more of a weird one for me.
If there's one thing that we've learned over the past 2 to 3 seasons is, one, we don't hold on to the ball particularly well on offense. So we need more stamina, more guys, more depth in defense. And 2, you don't have a clue what any of them are going to do on any set play. So he might line up on the edge and cut inside. He might be an inside and cut on outside. The great thing about the Banks pick and, let's just say it now, the big Citrus pick, is that we get to play around. We get to do what Flores wants to do because they are going to be so busy on the inside and on the front line that those guys can do it. And let's face it, our secondary is not great. So as much as we can put pressure on the quarterback as well, and if we can get more guys and throw more schemes that get to the quarterback and make them uncomfortable, it does feel like you say, Flores, here's the keys. Tell us who you need. If people are telling us it's a reach, I'm not bothered because they're going to be your guys and you're going to be lining them up exactly how you want them to be.
Yeah.
So I don't know much about him, if I was brutally honest, but I'm assuming Brian Flores knows everything about him. And if he thinks he can work in his scheme, then so be it.
Yeah, it seems like an interesting pick. I think, him being a former edge rusher who's moved off the ball in his last few years at Cincinnati, it'll be he has a useful skill set to sort of play off the ball, but then be able to blitz from the middle linebacker position.
He's massive as well. He's 6'5".
Yeah, he's huge.
Yeah,
he's a big boy. Was he 6'4", 239 pounds, according to his Wikipedia page? But that's a big linebacker.
6'5", but yeah, we're not going to argue over an inch.
I never have in the past. There we go. So you've mentioned Big Citrus. Let's get into round 3. We've got at number 82. Here he is, Big Citrus himself, Dominique Orange, the defensive lineman out of Iowa State.
I'm just going to point out, I'm taking the win in the sense that I was the only one that even mentioned his name in the.
You did. That is true.
Mock. So I knew of his existence at least. So I'll take it.
Yeah. The Vikings obviously have listed him just as defensive lineman because we play that 3-4 scheme, but I expect that he'll play more nose tackle. John, is that what you're feeling from Big Citrus?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we've been saying. He's pretty much there to cover what we lost in Phillips throughout the last year. So, yeah, Big Citrus. I mean, I've heard a lot about him before, so he's I'm reasonably looking forward to seeing what we can do with him.
Yeah.
One of those labels I think he's going to get, quick for a big lad. Oh,
yeah. Well, and just he is a very big lad. You know, we talk about Golday. Like, Golday is taller than him. Orange is 6'2", but 322 pounds. Like Darren mentioned earlier, we've added a lot of meat on that defensive line, and it was necessary.
660 pounds of meat we've added to that front line. 330 pounds of Banks and 322 for.
Teams are going to struggle to get past our defensive line, I think, this season.
Yeah, the weird thing as well is that when we announced Banks, we were all having a bit of a chat and thinking, well, maybe he plays nose because he's such a huge guy, massive wingspan, stick him in the middle, make sure no one can run past him.
Yeah.
But then when you go and draft Orange at the same time, you think, bloody hell, like the lads that line up behind him, they're going to be a quarterback's nightmare next season because
if you think
with him and Levi Drake Rodriguez,
exactly, yeah. Well, you got Redmond, but Redmond probably starting will be Redmond, and then Orange, and then so red and orange. Okay, we need Banks doesn't work.
We need a yellow on the other side. Never mind. Yeah. We finally got our first offensive pick with our compensatory selection at number 97, a guy called Caleb Tiernan, an offensive tackle out of Northwestern. I'll come to you first, Rich. Any thoughts on Caleb Tiernan?
Yeah, I was convinced that they would give us a few more weapons more than what feels like a good depth pick in our offensive line.
Bit of a swing tackle.
I was thinking, but and then you start to go through the logic. So you think, well, because we sort of probably need a tight end because, Hawkinson has probably got a one more year to prove it if he's going to come back. Oliver, is great at the run block and he's good to have in the team, but we've got no one big, tall, lengthy to just throw over the middle if we want to gain another 5 yards really easy.
I just want to check. You're talking about.
We're talking about an offensive tackle here
because we're talking about an offensive tackle. Okay, I just want to make sure you were on the same page.
When I'm going through the process, I think we need a tight end. Yeah. So surely at that sort of range with the depth of tight end,
I see what you mean.
That's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And again, you're thinking, well, we've given Addison a 1 year, the extra fifth year pickup, so maybe we go for and again in a draft class which is deep in wide receivers, maybe we pick up. But then you think last year we didn't play with a consistent offensive line all season. 18 different scheme markups in the season is crazy. No wonder JJ McCarthy struggled because he didn't know who was going to line up in front of him. And half of them didn't know their jobs. You've got a centre that got knocked out every other game. Yeah. So we just making sense of draft picks when you go through that. We have got a tight end, and we have got a wide receiver, and maybe that's not what we need. So I think again we have gone super simple in this draft. We need a player. That's where they play. It's something that we have identified that we need as a team, and that's why we've got them in. And that's all I can assume. Because let's face it, our offensive line, when healthy, he doesn't probably start, but going into the next season, he is going to see some game time.
Yeah, well, he presents an option in terms of that backup type guy, having lost Justin School, going back to the Buccaneers in free agency. Oh, yeah. There was a need there, and that's completely thrown me. I don't know what that was.
I was just saying, oh no, because he was terrible. So,
of course. Yeah. Well, anyway, the big news in the third round, though, was with the very next pick.
Hang on. So sorry, I just had a little thing to add on that. So I think,
okay.
I mean, again, he's another massive guy. He's 320 pounds. He's 6'8" or something like that. He's massive. 6'7", I think. 6'8", 6'7". 6'7".
You guys are all too old for this.
Hillocks. I just wondered. Obviously, this is Darasaur insurance as well. I think there's still some questions around Darasaur's injury. Because initially I'm like, what? He plays predominantly in college as left tackle. Why would you? But then I was like, okay, maybe there's. Not that I think he's probably going to be okay. I think Darasaur will start, but I think we saw, like you said, Rich, when we started to get injuries, we didn't. And I suppose there's nothing better to if you're even if you're lacking in skill levels as you go down, if you can just stick someone who is a tank, you then stand a chance of giving your quarterback a couple of minutes.
Is there a possibility that he provides some depth at guard as well? Or is it more likely?
I mean, at that size, he could probably play guard and tackle in one hit.
Fair enough. Well, as I was saying, so we obviously had the big news in the third round of Jonathan Greenard being traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. There was a lot of talk that he was potentially going to pick up maybe first-round draft pick value. I always thought that was maybe over-egging things. We ended up getting a third rounder this year and a third rounder next year for Greenard, who has immediately signed a $100 million four-year contract with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I don't see that we were ever going to be able to pay him that kind of money.
You're right, but he signed that deal because he's an incredibly good player.
Yeah, but we couldn't pay him, and he wanted a pay rise.
But the double-edged sword is the Philadelphia Eagles, again, have become much better, which is really annoying because they jumped up and got the wide receiver that they needed in the first round. They did smart trades for Greenard, who is a top 5 edge in the league, going straight into their team. They even picked up on the last day. We were very fortunate to meet some international pathway players on the last day while we were here. And the Nigerian guy they picked up on the last day, oh my word. He's like 6% body fat and 20 stone.
Bernard, he's a big boy.
Oh my word. He is, he's going to be.
He's never actually played a single snap of football.
6 months. 6 months he's been in training.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly.
He's played basketball, I believe.
I mean, two of my hands.
Anyway, so with the pick that we got.
Good.
Lost you for a second. There was a bit of a breakup.
Yeah, you broke out there. So
something about John's hands.
It just the size of this guy's hands was like.
Okay.
Yeah,
I see.
Absolutely giant.
So we finally did address the safety position with the pick that we got for Greenard.
You keep jumping ahead. I might have some stuff to talk about on the old
Greenard. No, we don't. Go on then. All right. No, please. I want to hear what you have to say about Jonathan Greenard.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Tom. I think that as is always the case when you see these, what we should get for Greenard, a first rounder, blah blah. We as fans tend to live in fantasy land and not in reality a lot of the time when it comes to these sorts of trades, which is why you get those stupid things like, "Would you say yes to this trade with Justin Jefferson and for a Snickers bar or something?" I think it was a good deal. I think the weird thing that third rounder next year gives us 4 third rounders. Is that right?
Something like that. Right? Yeah.
And next year's talent pool, according to the experts, is a much higher grade than this year. It is deep. So I think that is it's probably more. It's worth more than we think it is in that sense.
I've got a question. If we had a permanent GM in place, do we get a better deal for Greenard?
Not necessarily.
No, I don't think so, because I think a lot of the deals that you talk about, I think Brzezinski's more involved in a lot of these deals than you might think in the past. He's quite senior. He's technically he was above the GM. To take the GM role technically would be a demotion for him in terms of the structure. He sits between the GM a sort of almost as a dotted line to the Wilfs. So I think he's probably more involved. So I think he's no idiot, and he knows the market. So I think it's just. So I don't think we do. I might even argue that we might have got a worse deal based on some of the trades that I've seen under previous GMs. So I don't know. It was we need to get rid of him, and we probably were touted him for quite some time, and it was just one of those situations where someone called our bluff and then got to the 11th hour and went, take this or you pay him.
It's the sort of thing where the compensation you're going to get is the compensation gets less and less as the time goes on. You get more desperate to push a deal through.
It'd have been a holdout camp. You don't need that disruption going into
exactly. That's what we don't know. We don't know that the internals. He's going, I want you either pay me or I'm gone kind of conversation, and you don't need that in your dressing room. So I'd rather just take what we can get from him and get the. Not to say that he's toxic, but the toxicity of that problem out of the organisation.
And he's been really professional about it. Come out.
And, absolutely. Yeah.
So,
good guy. Well, I'm conscious of the time. I am aware that you guys have to make a move pretty soon. But if we rattle through the next few picks, so obviously we got that pick for Greenard and used it on Jakobe Thomas, a safety out of Miami. Not much to say about him other than he is a safety, and we got him in the 3rd round.
Top 100 safety still with other fields. So, I think, and I think the whole safety thing, I think, points the needle again to potentially Harrison Smith still sticking around for another season.
Yeah, that's the feeling we've been getting from fans out here.
I think we all got a bit of tunnel vision with him almost having a farewell game at the end of last season, and then now he's not even on the team right now. He has technically been released as of in June. Like I think it's technically through. But yeah, there was that sense that he isn't going to be back, and now with the way we've acted in the draft, there's more of a sense that he's going to return for the last dance.
Totally agree. Yeah. Totally agree.
So we didn't have a pick in the 4th round because we traded that pick away to the Jacksonville Jaguars to get Cam Robinson a couple of years ago. We traded a pick away to the Panthers as well in the 5th round, but we got one back from the Panthers with pick number 159, where we took perhaps the tight end that you were talking about earlier, Rich, but more likely to play at fullback, a guy called Max Bredesen, a former teammate of JJ McCarthy's at Michigan.
Yeah, not just a former teammate, but I think
one of his best mates, I think.
Yeah, I think he was with JJ
with
McCarthy.
Him. He came onto the screen. Yeah, I've seen the clip. Yeah.
So, I've seen some footage back of him. He's a bit of a machine in terms of making sure that he can keep a running lane clean and making sure that he can open those running lanes up. You've got JJ McCarthy in the building. You'd ask him the question: is he any good? What's he like in the dressing room? Seems like a perfect fit. Obviously, CJ Ham, unfortunately, leaving the organisation this year, and we need someone to do the job that he did because we play like that as a team. So yeah, makes total sense to me. Big guy, Michigan. Maybe we'll catch some stuff out of the backfield. Maybe we'll even give him a couple of 1-2 yard punches into the end zone.
I was thinking that just now, actually. He seems like, while we're obviously going to be talking about CJ Ham, who's just retired, he feels more like that H-back type guy like Jim Kleinsasser was. Was that, John, is that your feeling with Bredesen? Yeah.
Well, when we took him, I was very shocked because I wasn't down in the inner circle at that point. I was getting ready for I was backstage getting ready for my pick. So I was just, and they were showing clips of him on the board. And I was like, I couldn't Google him because you're not allowed your phone out back there backstage. But yeah, it was, from what I've seen of him since, it seems like it's a good replacement for CJ. I think that's what they're wanting from him.
Yeah.
Plus, maybe using him a bit more in the catching game.
Yeah.
Out there.
Yeah, Smash Mouth football definitely isn't dead in Minnesota. Darren.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think even with a team like ours that is fullback friendly, I think 19%. CJ Ham only played 19% of the snaps. So even in a fullback friendly team, so having this guy that can also do a little bit of other things as well, I think having that hybrid role is a very sensible move. So you still have it when you need it, but he might be useful in other areas as well. So yeah, I like the pick.
Excellent. Well, John, you've set us up perfectly for the very next one. 4 picks later, you, my friend, as our International Fan of the Year, had the opportunity to go out on that stage to announce the pick. And we're not going to do it now. What we're going to do is, Darren, roll the clip, my friend.
Shout out to all my international fans with the 163rd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. The Minnesota Vikings select Charles Demmings, defensive back, Stephen F. Austin.
Pretty good.
John, amazing. Well done, sir. And like you represented the Vikings perfectly there. And not only that, but you got to announce the latest cornerback to join the Minnesota Vikings, Charles Demmings.
Yes, yeah, it's amazing experience. I mean, this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience to get stand on the draft stage and announce a player for your team. It's the Mount Everest of NFL fandom, really. I can't think of anything that would top that, really. It's just amazing. Yeah, looking forward to seeing him play for the Vikings. I mean, we all came into this draft saying we need help in the secondary, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do for us.
He could be your new Mekhi Blackman.
He's going to be my new Mekhi Blackman.
No, the answer is no one could ever replace Mekhi.
Well, unless you actually announce that particular player, I think that might be a reason why it suddenly becomes your more favourite player to focus in on.
Definitely. Demmings, obviously, as a 5th round pick, none of us, I don't think, had much of an eye on him. But Darren, you are our college expert, really. Any thoughts on Demmings?
A little bit. Expert's a bit of a strong word in the sense that I watch it occasionally.
That's more than I do, my friend.
The honest truth is, I don't know much. As we all know, college is quite a broad. There's quite a lot of players in the college football. This
is a guy out of a college named after a man. Like
I'm not focusing in on Stephen F. Austin's school.
I've got their 3rd jersey, mate.
Is he in the big 3 or something? I don't know. But no, it's a cornerback. We need depth in that area, and when you get to the 5th, 6th, 7th round, you're looking for a diamond in the rough, and you're taking a bit of a gamble. Some of these will become weirdly superstars, but most of them are more likely to make the practice squad at best, or maybe get some involvement in some special team stuff if they do well in camps. So that's what they'd be looking for first. Let's see how they get on, and then but expectations of these types of players has to be tempered
for sure. Moving then into round 6, we had a pick that sort of did the rounds. But it started with the Vikings. We traded it to the Texans for Cam Akers. It then came back to us from the Texans in exchange for Ed Ingram. We then traded it to the 49ers for Jordan Mason. They traded it to the Patriots, and then the Patriots traded it back to us. All for us to get DeMond Claiborne, running back out of Wake Forest, one of those schools that you only really pay attention to because they've got a pretty quirky name. But this guy's quick.
Lightning.
Yeah, well, I said in our draft tracker on the website, he could be the lightning to the thunder of Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones. Definitely a change of pace kind of guy.
Yeah, what did he do? 4.37 in the 40 dash at the combine, I think?
Only 100th of a second slower than Jeremiah Love, who went with the 3rd overall pick. Obviously, pace isn't the only thing when it comes to being a running back, but
tell them that's AJ.
Yeah, well, but the other thing is that people have described him as twitchy, and like he has that sort of ability to change direction and change pace very, very quickly, and that could prove very, very useful for the Vikings this season. Anyone got any more thoughts on DeMond Claiborne before we move on to our final pick?
No. Oh, go on.
Please.
I've just put my hand up so you've got somewhere to cut this out. My laptop battery is almost about to run out.
Okay.
Fine. All right. Well, we'll move finally on to Gavin Gerhardt, the centre out of Cincinnati, who we took with pick number 235. He's a centre. We needed a centre. That's pretty much all we need to say about Gavin Gerhardt.
Yeah.
Brandell's going to start, isn't he?
I think so. Yeah, unless this guy, wins the job it's going to be a competition, I would imagine.
It's going to be a centre controversy this offseason.
Yeah, well, this is not a kicker controversy for once.
Let's not get ahead of that, mate.
Oh yeah, there will be a kicker controversy. I forget.
Of course, there's always a kicker controversy at the Minnesota Vikings.
Every 5 minutes since the draft, all I've heard from John is this new punter we've got's good. And I think it's one of the undrafted free agent guys.
Yeah. Yeah,
so that's a punter. I'm talking about kickers. They're different beasts.
Oh, sorry.
We only have Will Reichard. There is only one
there.
kicker for us.
Oh, no, there's no controversy.
But we might as well get on to the undrafted free agents. The only one that really stood out to me was the international pathway guy, Brett Thorson. He's a 26-year-old punter out of Georgia, but he graduated from, I believe it's a school called Pro Kick Australia. So he's an Aussie rules player, essentially, from Melbourne, who knows how to kick the ball bloody far.
Well,
is he going to beat out Johnny Hecker?
Well, it seems a bit of a trend, isn't it? I think people are starting to look at the Australian rules kickers and starting to think, maybe they work. Maybe they work in our game. So yeah, I think that we might start to see that as a bit of a trend.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, he has a career-long punt of 75 yards, which is pretty useful.
It was an amazing punt as well. I've seen clips of that punt, and it's
Can he do it on a cold, windy night in Stoke? That's what I want to know.
Well, no, because Stoke doesn't have an NFL team.
Yeah.
Well, I think we see this every year. We see this every year. We absolutely love, because of Randall and Thielen and whoever else, and Pace and Bobrick. We love an undrafted free agent in Minnesota, and we love the underdog. We always want it to work out. The 20 people that we've signed so far, maybe 3 make it onto some sort of practice squad. But it'll be one. Daz, if you go away and do some research.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I was talking to Tom. I haven't even looked. I've been so busy that I didn't even see who we've taken as undrafted. So I will.
I'm sure we can do some more research into them and cover them in a future show. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on live from Pittsburgh. I'm going to not ask Rich to run through the contact details as I was planning in the running order, just in case his laptop battery runs out.
And because I don't really know him.
That's fair enough.
We're on social media.
Yeah. I think that's all you need to know. So you've done it. You have done it. Guys, safe trip home. We're looking forward to seeing you on our very next show, and in person. We're probably going to see each other over the summer, I'm sure.
Of course.
In the meantime, thank you for joining us. And all that remains to be said is say goodbye, gentlemen.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
From Pittsburgh. Thank you so much, guys. See you soon. Cheers. Ta-ra.
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 Ta-ra.